Here we go. 5, 4, 3. Hello,
Coming to you from the poorly painted studios in Cumming, Georgia, this is the Chuck and Zee Show. And now, here's Chuck and Zee.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Chuck and Zee Show. Of course, I'm Chuck.
I'm Zee.
And with us, as always, is producer Chaos, Miss Sharon Klein.
Hello.
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 How are you this evening?
I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
I get nervous before the show every time, and I don't know why. You guys are the most fun, and I'm always so happy, but I'm always like, did it play right? Did I press the right button?
It's because we've had some chaotic episodes in the past.
A little bit. Don't knock on wood.
Oh, are you knocking on your head?
It's been getting better.
So, what's going on tonight, Sharon?
We are so lucky to have this nice gentleman next to us. His name is Daly. He is the National Officer of the Punishers Motorcycle Club. One of like
88. But,
okay.
you know.
One of 88. But we're lucky to have this one in our studio tonight. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, super excited. The Crazy 88 National Officers.
You know, thousands of us around the country, so they need some help. So,
Well, Dan, we've met a few times now,
right.
Seen each other at bike nights, had a few conversations. But
right.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're obviously from New York.
No,
I mean, it doesn't sound like a Georgia accent.
I don't have an accent. You have an accent.
Well, technically, everyone has an accent.
Right.
But no, for real, tell us a little bit about from New York. What part of New York?
I grew up in Eastchester, which is about 8 miles outside of New York City. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I came here in 2007. I was working for Coca-Cola, and I figured I would only be here for a couple of years. And a couple of years is now
18.
18, yeah, a long time.
Yeah,
so,
almost 19 years.
Yeah, it's been great. So I like it. I like Georgia.
Yeah, the South kind of
It does
has a little gravity to it.
Yeah,
kind of keeps you there.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
So
now, obviously, you're a rider too.
Yeah, not like you guys ride. Like you guys are like world famous. Like, and I just not like Chuck and Zee riders.
Oh my God.
So
you're a humble rider.
I'm a humble rider.
Everybody who rides is a rider.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoy riding. So.
What do you ride?
Road Glide.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep.
What year?
2020.
All
So
right.
Gotcha.
107-ish,
Okay.
Not like you guys, So
We're not
you
like
can always
us.
upgrade that
It's
one.
all a facade.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
To cam or not to cam is the next is
jeez.
the question next.
Okay.
So
I say 2 cam.
I was about to say, is that the question? The
That's the
answer
question.
is 2 cam.
2 cam.
To sing Shakespeare, to be or not to be,
I might
cam
see
or not to cam.
I may be seeing our friends at Southern Cycle soon. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So
Those are good dudes.
They are good.
They
They're
do,
great dudes.
They do great work. Obviously, they painted ours. They're responsible for these paint jobs that we have.
Oh, you guys got beautiful paint jobs.
Thank you.
That's why when you showed up at the bike night when we did the best looking bikes, when you two pulled in, it's like, just give it to them now. We're just like,
wait, did they do a competition and you guys showed up?
So
Jesus.
they pulled in, right? And we were like, all of us were out there, and like, we were just like,
people just start leaving.
No, they were just. I said, should we just give it to them now? And everybody's like, yeah. So
that was fun.
Yeah,
we didn't even know.
It was funny because you walked up and you're like, you guys won.
Yeah.
And like, what?
What?
Best looking bikes. Because we already had one prize that was like, you guys take it. You can fight over it.
Argue about it. Well, you know who won that argument, right?
We kind of figured that.
Always.
Yeah, it was the blue and yellow bike.
Yes. That's always going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when in doubt,
go with the blue and yellow bike.
make sure your wife wins out.
Yeah. So
How you like that?
A nice little sound
That
bite.
was cute.
Yeah.
Aw.
That was cute.
that was great. Yeah, it was. We were really happy to have you guys there, and
Yeah.
that was a good turnout that night.
That was.
Yeah.
And hopefully tomorrow night
we have another one Over the Top Burger in Buford. So
Travis called earlier. We're going. I'm excited about it. First of all, I love Travis. Love Over the Top Burger. They great hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those shakes that they have there.
I know. I always talk about the shakes with the dessert that they put on top of it.
It's a whole slice of cheesecake.
Yeah. There's no downside. Is there a downside? There's no downside.
Well, if you're not supposed to eat that stuff, it's a downside.
It's liquid diabetes.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's
diabetes.
Diabetes. That's right. That's my generation. We say diabetes.
Yeah. They also had this thing there. I thought somebody had it. One of the guys' wives, they had I don't know, it was a Bloody Mary and it had chicken wings and mozzarella sticks and all this stuff sticking out of it. It was like a whole meal out of a Bloody Mary. And I'm like,
holy cow.
Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah.
And if you like to drink, it's a heavy pour there.
Oh, yeah. They don't mess around.
Yeah. We had an event.
Their specialty shots are amazing.
Yeah. I know. We had an event there where they created a drink specifically for the event.
Right.
And it kind of incorporated the name of the company and a few other things in it. And they called it a bridge to nowhere. Mm-hmm. And it was.
Yeah.
Because I had one and was like, why doesn't the room look right?
Yeah. Well, Travis is a great guy. And actually his new general manager, John, is a member in my chapter and of the Punishers. So he's been, he's been working there and they've been really good to us. And,
it's a great spot for a bike night too. Yeah. A lot of traffic on that road. Food's great. Good parking.
Yeah.
No alcohol when you're riding.
Yep.
But if you are driving or someone else is driving you, there's a good alcohol there.
There's good alcohol. Yeah. Drink responsibly. Yeah. So.
Yeah. He was trying to get it out.
Ride and drive responsibly.
Yes, please. Do not drink and ride.
Yes. Anyway.
But there's good alcohol there.
Yes.
All right.
So tomorrow night, obviously we're getting close to the holidays. So what is, I know it's a special bike night tomorrow night, trying to raise.
Yes. So, the Punishers of Georgia, we help sponsor the Buck Jones Toy Run every year, right? They've been doing it for years. And tomorrow is our final push to try to get toys. So we're going to have it at Over the Top Burger around 7:00. So we're asking everybody to please bring an unwrapped toy.
Okay.
Please unwrapped, right? We have to know what's there before we're giving some young child a toy, right?
Right.
No weapons.
No weapons. Remember, it's an unwrapped toy. It's our final push for it. We've already had, we've had a poker run where we've raised, a bunch of money so far. And then what we're going to wind up doing with the money that we raised and the toys tomorrow night, actually with the money we raised, we're going to go to Walmart and, go shopping, which is always a real fun event. We go to the Walmart somewhere and they got $7,000-8,000 and we got to go shopping. And you don't realize how much work that is to go to a Walmart with $7,000. And we're like, all right. And you tell everybody to go, okay, everybody's go spend, $500 and go. And they come back and they're like, yep, we're done. We got it. And then the cashier will start ringing you up and they're like, all right, you've got $3,000. We're like, all right, go back. So, they don't realize how much, you think you got it. So, it takes hours.
Shopping spree.
It's a shopping spree. Yeah. So then we fill up a trailer full of toys and we'll go to the Buck Jones Toy Run for this year. It's November 19th up at the coming fairground.
Right? Oh, nice. Right here.
And, we'll drop off the toys. There's a ride, so we'll encourage everybody to go. It's at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. It's a really great event. So
that sounds
started
awesome.
Years ago.
So what's the difference between the Buck Jones Toy Run and say Toys for Tots?
That's a good question. Toys for Tots is typically, that's a nationwide thing. It's typically focused for the inner cities.
Okay.
Right? They really don't focus outside of the cities. And there's got to be a cutoff point, right?
Yeah.
So majority of your population's in the cities and that's where they focus. So they'll focus on here, say Atlanta.
Right.
But that's where it'll stop. But when you start getting into the counties around here, Forsyth, Hall, et cetera, they really leave it up to, those counties to. So Buck Jones works with 4 different counties, so Forsyth, Hall, and a couple others, right?
Okay.
And then they work with different agencies. Some of them are like DFACs, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will distribute. They have their own network. So it's kind of like a supply chain, right? So Punishers, for example, will work with Buck Jones. Buck Jones will work with different agencies, and then they distribute the toys. So it's it's a lot of work, right? To get it to the right people, right? So they look for toys. They look for, $10 Walmart gift cards. And the reason they ask for that is sometimes a lot of these foster families, some of these foster families, they got to get clothes for kids, right? So it's great to get them, the newest toy, but, if they don't have socks, that's it's an issue. And they need it in small increments because they want to be able to get them, these families, what they need.
Awesome.
So it's a great event. So hopefully royalty like you guys could hopefully show up.
Stop. Of course.
You guys are like, you don't get it. You guys are like famous around here. You know what I'm saying?
Chuck just rolled his eyes so hard.
Stuff.
I know, you rolled your eyes.
He tries to keep like a low profile, but like, you guys come into an event, something like that, it's like a big deal. So,
we definitely want to. We'll be there tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're going
for Over the Top Burger, and then definitely for the run.
Yeah,
we
that's awesome. I mean,
I'm just going to support my boy. Support the cause.
Yeah.
It's a great event, and the Punishers, their motto worldwide is in service to others, right? So that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
So
tell me a little bit about the Punishers, because obviously
they were formed in 1999 in New Jersey.
Oh wow!
So we're heading
pretty recent.
Yeah, heading for their 25-year anniversary this year. We're actually going to have our big party, and actually it's going to be in Arkansas this year, next summer.
1999.
In 1999. So
that's when the skull was designed too, right?
The Guardian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so it's going to be it was founded in New Jersey with literally 8 members.
Okay.
And now we have thousands of members in 21 countries.
Wow.
So,
it's like the Litos.
Yeah.
Like spread so fast.
Yeah. So we're in 21 countries. We have thousands of members. And
that's awesome.
It's hundreds of chapters, thousands of members in 21 countries.
Now it's a LEMC.
Yeah. Law enforcement, made up of law enforcement, military, firefighters, and like-minded folks like myself. So,
yeah, I was going to say every now and then there are exceptions to having to have civil service in your background.
Yeah. Don't let sometimes guys like me in.
So. They let hooligans like you in, Dan?
No hooligans. No. They're actually very strict about who they let in.
Yeah.
There's a whole process,
Sure.
Background checks and everything.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
It's legit.
There's a whole process.
Okay. So what's the difference between a law enforcement MC and say like a regular MC?
No, again, the process to get in, it's the law enforcement piece. So that's, the majority of us are from that background.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest difference.
Okay.
Again, that's the biggest difference, right?
Okay.
Is, the foundation of the Punishers was law enforcement. So that's what we're all about. And we're about supporting the Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a lot of the fundraisers you'll see around the country are about, supporting the Blue and what they believe in. And a lot of the fundraisers will be through, like we just did a fundraiser in Alabama. It was really awesome. It was called Blue Santa, right?
Okay.
And they actually raffled off a custom Harley. It was awesome. And they worked with a police department there, and they raffled off the bike, and the police department donated the money for toys for kids, right? And it was a great event. It was actually a 2-day event. They raised thousands of dollars for toys for kids. So the Punishers collaborated. I think it was with Millbrook Police Department out in Alabama.
Yeah.
And it was just, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bikes showed up.
That's awesome.
To do, to support, number one, to support the local police and to support, kids that needed. So, and just seeing, our brothers and support, we have, 2 support clubs, women's sport clubs coming in from all over to an event like that was just, it's wow. You sit there, you look around and it's just amazing.
Yeah. So how many bikes do you think?
Oh, there was hundreds of bikes there. Started there Friday night. that big pre-party, right, at the clubhouse, and bands, food trucks, listening to music.
Oh, cool. So it's like a rally almost.
It was like a rally. Next day, breakfast, Harley dealer, gathering, ride, gathering again, rally, bands, raffled off a bike and this is a great story. One of the brothers that won the bike was military.
Okay.
Great guy, won the bike and he gave it to a veteran.
Stop right now.
Gave it away to a veteran.
My heart.
Yeah, like I just got chills right now.
Like, yeah. And this is not just like a stock bike. This thing was completely tricked out.
Yeah.
And he literally was like, yep, I know who's going to get this bike. And I'm like,
that's amazing.
Road name is Mutt. I said, so what are you doing? He's like, I'm giving it to a veteran, handing him the keys.
Oh my gosh.
It's one of the things I love about being a part of the biker community is, first of all, there are so many nuanced and niche other types of communities within the biker community.
Like
right?
Yeah.
But all of them, obviously, everyone has their elements that are on the fringe, right?
Yeah.
But the vast majority of the folks that I interact with that are within this community, whether it's law enforcement or the performance scene or choppers or cafe racers or whatever, people that are only riding,
builders.
right, imports or whatever, they all seem to have this common goal of doing something that gives back. Anytime anytime they organize in any way, right?
So true.
You think about the Litas. The Litas started as, hey, female riders. Z started it because she was a new female rider. She wanted to find other female riders. She wanted to show them, hey, you can do this too. This is something that's accessible to you to do, and invited all these folks into it. But then as soon as, there were 5, 6 of them, it's, gosh, what can we do to give back? There's 6 of us now. 6 people in the same place. Let's give back to the community. So how can we help with, how can we help with cancer? Right? How can we help with these big overarching societal problems, whether they're medical or whether they're, dealing with poverty or financial? It's just always wounded warrior. It's always fascinating to me that the first thought as soon as bikers organize is, how do we help people? You guys are helping kids and other law enforcement professionals. It's one of the things that I love about being a part of this type of community. Because I don't think that exists in most other communities. I don't think that when all the Ferrari guys get together, they go,
how do we give back?
How do we give back
to ourselves?
No. Right? We also have within the Punishers, right? Like, we have Brothers Helping Brothers. We have like 2 funds, or so I could talk about this, right? We have one called the 911 Fund, right? So if a Punisher loses income, get hurt or whatever, we have assistance for them. If they lose financial assistance. We also have what's called the 31st chapter. And I could talk about this. So this is called the Morning Bar, right? If a brother dies, we put the Morning Bar over the eyes of a guardian. We've actually, unfortunately, we've had 4 brothers pass away in the last week.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like an anomaly, right? And what they do, it's called the 31st chapter. The 31st chapter, when there was 30 chapters for the Punishers, the 31st, when we had the first brother that died, they wanted to keep him memorialized, so they put him in what was called the 31st chapter. And so what the 31st chapter fund is they will help the family, with, whenever time for assistance. Right? So we're all about brothers helping brothers too. So as we help the community, we also want to, help ourselves.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
We take care of, brothers' families, and we take care of ourselves as well. So
that's amazing.
So it's a great organization. I haven't seen anything like it.
That's another part of it too.
If you want to know more about it, www.punisherslemc.com.
There you go.
I help write the website. So
You're a multitasker.
That's actually one of the assignments that I've been given. As when you wonder like what the national thing was, that was one of the things. Oh, you know how to write a website? Go do that.
Okay.
So
and we'll most
lock yourself
certainly
in a
put
room and don't come out. Yeah.
Yeah, for a few days.
and we'll definitely put a link in the description below. So you'll be able to just click it too as well. But that's also another thing too, is the organizations that exist actually do things. Mm-hmm. I always think back to, I had about a week of this job. I'll never forget it. It was right before I got into what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I knew I wanted to be in staffing. That's very young. And I was like, there was this opportunity to go help fundraise for a fraternal order of police. And I was like, you know what? I believe in that.
Right.
I'm going to go help do that.
Right.
And so I go and I sit in this room with like 80 other people and we're just cold calling. And as I'm reading these scripts, I'm like, this doesn't feel good because I'm guilting these people. Right. Last year, you gave it the $75 level.
Right.
Would you be willing to give $75 again? Well, I can only do 30 this year. Unfortunately, they really need that $75 level. Is this really where you want to cut your budget?
Right.
I'm reading these things. I'm reading these things going, oh my God, right?
Right.
And then I was like, you know what though? Like, this is for a good cause. So me being me, I'm like, let me go find out like about this charity I'm raising. Out of that $75, a quarter went to actually, the others,
one quarter,
$69.75 went to supporting the organization I was working at.
Right.
Oh, so your salary.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how they do it.
That was like day 4. Right. And I walked in the next day and I was like, hey man, is this true? And he's like, yeah, man, you've like closed like 10 this week. You're doing a great job. Just go get back on the phones. And I was like, actually, I'm not doing this.
Right.
So I quit. But it's interesting to like, those exist, right? Yep. And I've always been kind of jaded because of that. But the ones that I find within our community, within the motorcycle community, typically they're not looking for anything for themselves. It's just a funnel through, pass through to the people
all
that need it.
All the people that do that stuff, like for these funds and everything for the Punishers, no one's getting, this is all us. Like
volunteer.
Nobody's
getting paid.
No. I mean, and it's all like, we had to set up corporations for this. We've, there's 501c3s, 501c7s. I mean, 501c4. I mean, everything is completely out in the open, and there's nobody's getting nothing. It's all brothers donating time to help other brothers or helping their communities. I mean, it's just great. I mean, it's so proud. You go to an event like the Blue Santa or what the Punishers in Georgia are doing. I mean, you walk out of there and you're just like, you feel so good about yourself. You feel so good about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you can't fake, because if you knew that it was going to be actually not legitimately going to the people who need it,
right,
you can't make that feel good.
Yep.
There's like a natural high to doing something selfless.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we do ours at Georgia, for the Punisher Georgia, we sit there and says, okay, we got all this money. We spent all this money. We start from scratch next year. Right. And maybe that's what we do, and we start all over again.
Yeah.
Right. And like, out in Alabama, like they went and they did this, they planned all year for this event. And like, literally they're starting again.
Yeah.
Like I think they took 24 hours to rest and like, and
it starts back over.
Oh, they started already. They already got the bike picked out and they are starting already.
It's a job, but it's volunteer. Like it's voluntary.
I don't think that like people see bikers and they got this. I think they watch too much Sounds of Anarchy.
Of course they do.
I think bikers watch too much Sounds of Anarchy.
Right. But I don't think they realize like when bikers go to an event, the types of money that they spend. Like my wife went to, when she first did the first Buck Jones event, she was mesmerized. She goes, bikers were coming up and they were like, yeah, here's my registration. Give me $50 on the 50/50. Here's another $100. Just put it on whatever. And and she's like, what do you want it on? She's like, I don't even care. And they're walking away. She's like, don't you want yours? She's like, no, don't worry. Like, and
just giving it away. Charity.
And she's sitting there going like, well, what do you want me to do with? And she's like, they're like, I don't care. Right. And like, I'm trying. I was the treasurer of the chapter at the time. I'm like, you got to keep the books,
Yeah.
And she's like, well, like I've got all this extra stuff, and I couldn't account for it because people didn't care where it went. Right? They were just like, look, we just want to donate it to wherever you guys want it.
Yeah.
Bikers are generous people, right?
Yeah, and I like the aim of this charity too.
Yeah,
because I'm a very cynical person, obviously, but this one is about actually putting a smile, on a kid's face. And people that Christmas morning, you get up and you get something nice when you weren't expecting really anything because of your situation in life.
I know.
It's something that I personally identify with a little bit too. So it's one of the reasons why whenever you guys were talking about doing this, I really wanted to get you on the show. That's why I made sure because I thought it's a good one. Right now kids are under attack in so many different directions, people trying to create victims out of them in all directions in order to use them for their own benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, hey, can we just make the kids happy? Can we just do something nice and let them be kids instead of making life-altering decisions at 6?
I know.
Can we just have them be kids and give them a nice toy?
Give them their G.I. Joe and let them go play.
And not really have a judgment, whichever one you want to play with. I don't care.
It can be Barbie too. Is that what you're saying?
Whatever you want to play. Here are the toys.
Yeah.
Play your heart out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I like that.
Kid.
Yeah.
Be a kid.
Yeah, like and just even for us going shopping, we have a blast.
I bet you do.
Oh yeah.
I bet
you feel like
do.
a kid again?
Oh yeah. I took my daughter last year. Like we have such a good time.
That's awesome.
Like we go to Walmart and they're just like, we say, hey, look, we need a cashier, our own cashier. And of course they're like, why? We're about to spend a lot of money, right?
The most you've seen.
The most you've seen anybody in a long time.
Right.
Right. And they're just like, yeah, okay. No problem. And we totally clear out, it wasn't like when we were growing up, right? There's no Toys R Us anymore.
Right.
God, I love Toys R Us.
I love
As
Toys
an
R Us.
adult.
I know. I love Toys R Us, but there's nothing like that anymore.
True.
That's it. There's Walmart and
God, I feel old.
I know.
Dang,
Growing up in New York,
FAO
we had
shorts.
we had it in Yonkers. We had this huge Toys R Us
In Yonkers.
In
Yonkers.
Schwartz, you're uptown.
No, that was bougie.
You're
right?
uptown.
Oh, no,
and shit.
it's from...
That's where Trump hangs out.
No, we went to Toys R Us in Yonkers, and this place was like the size of like 3 or 4 Publix.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Oh, it was huge.
If anyone knows that reference, let me know.
Well, I was thinking
I do.
about like from Big.
Well, yeah, that's
You know what I mean? And the piano but
that was bougie too. That dude had money. He was a
that
toy
FAO
designer.
or was that?
Yeah, it was Tom Hanks and Big. Right?
Yeah.
No, this was like Toys R Us. This was just like a toy.
Home Alone too.
I was gonna say you're talking
What
about the movie,
happened
right?
to Toys? I know they went out of business, but like there aren't
Amazon's
any
what
other,
happened to them.
That's true.
Do you remember when you used to go to the mall and there was always like that store
KB
on the
Toys?
corner that had a ton of toys in it?
KB
Yeah,
Toys.
KB
It would be like a little bit like you're going through a maze or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Malls where I grew up were wild.
Yeah,
they suck here. Like when I was growing, I'll tell you what I could do. I'll tell you what, I remember this is clear. There was a mall in Columbia, South Carolina called Dutch Square Mall. You go in that mall and the theater was in there. They had these crazy
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Right, these crazy little restaurants.
All right.
They had they had this little restaurant on the corner and they had a place called Cromer's. Now, if you don't know what Cromer's is, it's kind of local to South Carolina. It's like a peanut place, the Cromer Peanut Family or whatever. But in that mall, they had one of their stores, and it was famous because it had monkeys in it.
Like real monkeys?
Literal monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd walk in, and there was glass cages all around the store, and you'd walk in there, and as you were walking in there were literally monkeys just running around in the upper part of the store. So malls back in my day in Columbia, South Carolina,
zoos in the malls.
we got to see some monkeys with our.
Would they allow this today? Would they allow this today?
No. There's no. You can't have monkeys running around anywhere. No.
We are more civilized than we were 20.
There's no malls
years
anymore.
ago.
They're
you go to.
They're going
around
extinct.
here. There's there's Lenox Mall and.
Yeah.
Mall of Georgia.
Nobody really wants to go to Lenox.
You go there, you're
going
going to catch a bullet.
Yeah.
There is
That's
Mall of
true.
Georgia.
That's the sad thing. Like when I first moved to Georgia, Lenox Mall was like
the thing.
That was a really, really nice mall.
I'm going to Olympics Mall. Oh, you want to get shot?
Now it's like you got to pray for your life, right?
Exactly.
Phipps Plaza.
I want to get shot
Phipps
today. Go to Olympics Mall.
Yeah. Mall of George is still really nice, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Pretty soon the North Point Mall, I know they're not going to have any more as well because they're going to make it an outdoor workspace.
Oh, workspace?
Yeah, workspace kind of thing.
So that's where all the offices are going.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's evolution. I mean, malls were a very specific thing for a very specific time, very much of the 70s, 80s, and 90s culture, 2000s.
Yeah, 2000.
You know, we used to have bazaars all over the place. People were like, what happened to the bazaar? Where's the farmer's market?
There is a farmer's market. There's still farmer's market.
But they used to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Where I grew up in New York, like, we had like what was called the Galleria, the White Plains Mall. It was just like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like
Had a movie theater in it.
I had everything there. It was awesome. And then it literally just closed down last year. I mean, it was so sad. I mean,
so I got arrested once.
What?
Yeah.
No.
How dare you?
Do you know this story already?
No, I never.
Oh boy.
She never knows when I'm starting.
I'm
But
like, what?
she's like, it's one of 3 stories.
Yeah.
But all right, so back in my day, we used to cruise the mall.
Oh yeah.
So you would go up there with whatever beater you had. It did not matter.
Now I know.
You already know what
It's
he's
called a hoopty.
Yep. So we would drive around the mall, right? And I had met this girl that I was trying to talk to because
Here
the
we
mall,
go. This is where the conversation goes south.
the mall,
It's always over.
the mall hotties liked the cars, so they would hang out after the mall closed, and we'd all cruise around like rev it up.
Yeah.
Me
Too
and
fast, too furious.
my garbage car, but I didn't care. I had a car. Do you have a car? Nope. Then this is nicer than what you got, right?
Get back on your 10 bus.
That's how I saw it, right? So I was trying to talk to this girl, and I wasn't really gaining traction quick, right? It was a long play. She wanted to talk about a lot of stuff.
Are you comfortable, Z?
Yeah, I'm fine.
But you know, like
She's waiting to see if he's going to get punched later.
but I was locked in, right? I'm young, locked in.
Yeah.
I'm talking to this girl.
Yeah.
So we're outside of my car, and I kind of notice most everyone else is gone. And usually when they close this down, the cops start rolling through, like, hey, trespassing, get out of here, whatever. I hadn't closed the deal yet. So I'm standing there talking to her, and this cop rolls up, and he's like, you guys got to get out of here. And I was like, all right, we'll be gone shortly. He rolls back around. Excuse me, get in your car and go. And I was like, I'm getting ready to go. About 5 minutes. He comes back this time. He gets out and walks over to him, and he's like, son, get in your car and go. And I said, I'm just trying to hang out at the mall. I could be out selling drugs or something, right?
Oh boy!
And he goes,
wrong thing to say.
He goes, son, you say one more word, you're going to jail tonight. And I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh, Chuck.
I went to jail that
went
night.
to the clinker.
I sure enough did.
He hasn't changed. Like, that's who he is as a person.
Yeah, we had the same thing. We would go to the mall, and back then they were just like, listen, get back in they were a little bit more explicit back in New York.
Yeah,
they were like, listen, Guidos, get back in your IROC Z's and get home.
Yeah, you're always being profiled, right? Being profiled.
Italians with long hair and and leather jackets and Pizios, back in your IROCs and go home. So. Cop was like, I'm gonna call your parents. Oh, that was the other thing, and they all knew your parents too. They're like, and that's what they used to do, right? You get in trouble, right? Because like when we grew up, like we were taught by our parents, you respect the police, because God forbid, like if you disrespected a cop in my house, my parents would have went berserk, right? Okay. And that would have been
because your uncle knew his uncle who grew up
because my parents were taught by their parents, like, you respect the police, and my parents did the same thing. So the worst fear that I had was one of the Eastchester police dragging me home to my, and I remember one time when I was a kid, I got in, some stupid thing, and they were like, and I was like, 12 years old, and they were like, all right, and they knew we're taking you back to your. I'm like, please no, like, the worst thing you could have done was like put me in the car and pull up to my house.
Give me 10 years.
Like,
don't take me home.
I'll go to jail tonight. Just don't take me to my parents, because I did not want to have to explain that I, mouthed off to a police officer.
Right.
Right. Because we were taught, and that's probably the best thing, that, my parents ever did. Right. Was to say, like, look, you've got to show respect to these folks, because they will they protect you, and they're there to save your life, and they could one day. Mm-hmm. And I do the same with my daughter. Yeah. Right. And I think everybody needs to do that nowadays.
It lends well to being in your club as well. That respect that you naturally have.
Well, if you don't do that, you probably shouldn't be in our club. You're definitely not in the right place.
Right. Right.
Cop, I remember telling the cop, I was like, they're going to tell you to leave me here.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did.
The parents? Your parents? Yeah. How rude.
They're like, however long he stays is how long he stays.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's parents for you back then.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ma. Well, it's funny.
We had to learn our lessons.
We were latchkey kids. Could you imagine a latchkey kid today?
No, now they can't latchkey, because it'd say like you're not home, and next thing you know, you have like defects showing up at your house.
Well, they don't even let you get off the bus. Like, if they're younger kids, they won't let them leave the bus if they don't see that someone is opening the door.
Yeah.
I actually support that. I had, when I was a kid, I had this bully. I was like 11 maybe. This kid was in high school, and he would literally just wail on me every day on the bus. He didn't like me. I have a large blended family. There was overall like 10, right? So 11 including me, right? So there's been some people that had come before me, right? This guy didn't like my brother.
That messed the reputation up. So you're taking.
So I'm taking this ass whooping every week for some shit that my brother, who I don't like either.
You're right.
Some shit he did to this guy, right? And that guy, I remember one day though, I am who I am. So every time I was taking an ass whooping, I was running my mouth at him, right? Just greasy.
Can't stop.
Greasy, because he had greasy hair, so I would call him Greasy. Right.
He would find anything that he feels like will pick.
And I knew I usually
nerve.
Like if I could find it, and I knew it bothered him, right? So it didn't matter. He wailed on me, but I knew I hurt him. Right. Until that day he got off the bus. And I mean, until the parents came out, he just and again, this shit is a crime. This kid is like 15. I'm like 11, just getting my ass whooped in the yard by this kid.
Dang.
God, I grew up in a violent place, I think. Yeah. Yeah. How did I start that story?
I don't know. We totally went off the reservation.
We
went from like toy drive to like.
We were talking about
to the mall,
latchkey kids and how you can't get off the bus. And They're coddled. They're coddled.
They are.
Back in my day, I had to fight other kids on the way home.
Walking up a hill.
Up a hill.
In the snow with no shoes in the snow.
I'm like asking my son, are you hungry?
Your 40-year-old?
40-year-old.
Wow.
I mean, not that you look...
Dude, just...
Thank you. Aw.
Adam, and you're one.
He's what? He's 23, right?
He's 20.
He's almost 21.
He's only 20.
Only 20.
He's only 20, Chuck. He's only 20.
I swear. I think y'all get played sometimes. Changing light bulbs for adults.
I don't want him to leave me.
All right, we'll drop it.
Anyways,
we'll drop it.
Besides bike night,
right? Besides bike night,
and then the ride on November 19th. What other rides do you have coming up?
We've done a ton of different stuff that, like, because there's so many Punisher chapters like around, like, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. We've done a lot in the last 6 months. I think now, like, things are starting to wind down a little bit, because
that's good.
It's funny. I just went through like some receipts and stuff, and I'm like, I got my bike in April of 22, or something like that.
Okay.
I bought it and had 3,000 miles on it, and I just turned 29,000 on it.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah, so I'm like,
you've been riding.
I've been riding, right? It's funny, like the Alabama. I think if I have it here, do I have it here? the guys in Alabama got this like thing they talk about. Just do your thing and whatever. And they got these patches that just says ride Joe shit, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right?
That's good.
Yeah. So I keep it in there.
I love that.
So anything coming up? No, not really. I think this is probably the last big thing that's coming up. Actually, one of the chapters for Georgia's having like their 1 year party down in Flint River. I'm probably going to head down there in November, the November 4th, and then there'll be some. But then, then I think the next big we have what's called like super regionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So around the country, you'll see like regional events going on. This one's called in February. It's called the Dirty South Roundup down at Orange Beach, right?
Oh wow!
Which is just a great event that the guys
fun.
in Alabama do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like I said, and then actually in April, which we'll get a lot of advertising out. Georgia First, which was the first chapter. That's my chapter.
Mm-hmm.
The first chapter in Georgia, celebrating their 10-year anniversary. Right.
Oh wow!
And that's going to be in April. And we're going to get the word out. We're going to do like a really big event to celebrate the guys that are still here in Georgia, and the ones that are still to come in. Like 10 years to keep a chapter going. The guys that's a lot.
That's huge.
I've only been involved with it for it's from when I started hanging around till now, like 2.5 years. And the guys that are still here. A lot of them you probably know, like Ponch, the guy, and Bull, and
those are their real nicknames and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, their road name.
That's their road names.
Oh,
Ponch. He's I think you probably don't know him. Maybe
if you come tomorrow night,
I'll come tomorrow night. I'll come tomorrow night.
He has a missing leg. Yeah,
he got into an accident. He got into an accident. He's the reason that I became Punisher. I was at a gas station filling up I had a breakout at the time. He came over and he was just like talking about my bike, and he was just like, he's like, oh, you need to come to an event, and he just gave me his number, and I reached out, and that was it.
It's amazing when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like just some guy came up to you and
and he got into a bad accident, and he wound up losing his leg, but most people would have just packed it in.
I know.
He went and got another bike and put a sidecar on his bike, and that was like, I'm just going to continue to ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guys like Chris Johnson and Recon, and they're just like, well, I'm helping them. They're gonna put together this great event to celebrate their 10-year anniversary.
That's amazing.
Then, which is a really big deal. And then the Punishers International, like they're going to celebrate their 25-year, which is going to be in I think it's Springdale, Arkansas. Is that? That's going to be. I mean, they've already sold out hotels worth already. It's going to be great to celebrate. 25 years of in service to others. I guess the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. And like I said earlier, I love what the Punisher stand for. And talk about riding. I mean, obviously, we may not be able to get it in this year, but I would love to get all you guys together, go ride with y'all through Wolf Pin Gap. Yeah, get some footage, get some drone footage. I'd love to take a video of you guys going through.
That would be fun.
That'd be a good time. So
absolutely.
But brother, appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, I'm so psyched to be here, and it's like again with like biker royalty.
All right,
we appreciate it. He threw up in his mouth a little bit, but I'm gonna take it. And
I don't know how to take compliments.
And thank you.
No, seriously.
It's awesome.
I mean, like just seeing you guys out there, and just your podcast, your videos, and everything. It's it's inspiring seeing stuff like that.
Dude, we started doing all this because we love motorcycles, and we found out a lot of other people love motorcycles, and we were like, look what I did today on a motorcycle. It was so much fun. Are you doing cool stuff? Let me see what you're doing.
I know.
Right.
That's really.
But there's people doing cool stuff. But I guess for people in Georgia and people that know you and see you, it's different, right? Because you could see people that you don't know, but people that that you do know, and you just that's Chuck Z, and you're at our events, right? It's different, right? Because you're just regular folks, right?
Yeah.
You're regular folks that you see on a podcast.
But one of the best things about Chuck and Z, in my personal opinion, and I get to be part of it in a small way, is that they really do promote a community. They want other people to enjoy riding as much as they do. Yeah. They want people to say, hey, what'd you do to your bike? And have it be a positive community building way to connect the world, movement, I guess.
It was really important for me not to do.
Thanks, Sharon.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you. That's very sweet. But it's very important to me not to.
Thanks, Steve.
Not to have other people experience what we both have experienced within the community, where someone will come up to your bike and they ask you a question about it just so they can shit on it. They'll hey, what did you do to your bike? Well, I did this. Oh, man, I would have.
Why'd you do that?
These nasty opinions.
You should have done this.
So
Why?
Why? Yeah, it's don't ask it.
It's weird. It's a weird thing that people do. But I found that when I interact with people, I don't want them to have that experience with me. What'd you do to your bike? You put what on it? That's so cool. I mean, if I had a bike to do that with, I'd do it too, probably. Right. Yeah. Let me show you what I did with mine. Let's talk about, I that's just how I want to experience it. And I really don't give a shit what you're riding. Now, if you're my friend, I'm going to rag you. Like, we rag each other. That's my love language, is giving you shit. It always has been, always will be. Right. So if you're on an Indian, I'm going to talk about how you only get to ride with 2 other people. Right.
Right.
That's just, I'm going to do that. But quite frankly, I love Indian motorcycles. There's several Indians out there that I like. So it was really important for me not to have that be the experience when I'm interacting with people about their motorcycle. I know how much mine means to me. Right. Even when I just had a piece of shit garbage dirt bike that I helped build myself, it was my world. Right. So I hope everyone has that experience with their motorcycle. So I might as well, I don't want to insult that. No, but when people see your bikes, everybody goes, so the big question is when everybody's like, which one would you ride? Which one do you want? Right. Yeah. Which one? And that's what people say when they see you guys, like, which one, and the conversations that you hear, right? It's typically what it comes down to comes down to the color, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it comes to, because they're so similar. Everything else is so similar on them because it's the color and whatever, right? Yeah. And that's what you get into, the cool discussions. They talk about the carbon wheels. They talk about whatever. So because you guys did it so cool, you did it perfect, right? So anybody that is dumb enough to rag on your bikes, they don't know anything about bikes, right? So I mean, or they know a lot, or if they're not in the middle, they either know way too much or they don't know enough, right? But it always comes down to, like, so which one would you ride,
right?
Yeah,
that's a cool thing to be, right?
Yeah,
and that's where the debate will come. Oh, I like the red one. Oh, I like the blue and yellow one.
Yeah,
are you crazy? The red one's better looking. No way, the blue.
Let's try them both.
That's But basically, we're like, I don't got the money to do either one, so it don't matter. So that's a cool place for you guys to be at. And again, like, people in the community that know you guys. So when you guys come to events, it's a big deal, right? Because we see you, like, on your podcast, and we see. That's the cool thing. So I appreciate being here, because hopefully this will help our event. And
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, we admire folks like you. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I get to talk to people that are actually doing things, giving back to the community. The best part about this is getting to either have one of my friends in here where we just get to chop it up and just talk about whatever, or get to talk to people that are doing really cool things and giving back. I mean,
I know.
I get inspired by people like you and your organization that do these. We get on a show and talk. We've filmed some motorcycles. As a matter of fact, I definitely want to try to contribute to this year as well. So Z and I are going to talk about that and see what we can do.
Yeah, whatever. Like, hey, well, that's great. But me, I just help do this. The real heroes in the Punishers are really the cops, the firefighters, and those are the guys, and the military. Those are the real heroes that every day go out and put their lives out every day. For me, I'm just I'm corporate overhead. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, before we close this out, Dan, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but if you don't mind, go ahead and go through your social media, the website.
Sure. I mean, so for the Punishers worldwide, it's www.punisherslemc.com. On the local side for Georgia First, it's punishersgeorgiafirst.com, right? Okay. So that would be where you'd find that.
And you guys have Instagram as well.
That we do.
Yeah.
I'll tag it.
Yeah. There's a
Punishers, LEMC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all.
And then they have like the different
if you go
branches.
There's there's hundreds of.
And what are the dates of the next ride? Of the ride?
Oh, for the Buck Jones, it's Sunday, November 19th. I get there around 10.
That's when registration begins.
Registration begins, and then wheels up.
Okay.
Around 11. And it's like I said, so it's about
Cummings Fairground.
Cummings Fairground. Yeah.
Oh, is it right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, you're incoming.
Oh, I know.
What,
I know. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to get here during rush hour.
That's crazy.
That's why I didn't ride. I usually ride everywhere when I can, but I got on Waze and I saw it. I was like, no, I'm caging it.
Yeah. No. I actually had that same drive from work, and it took me an hour.
Yeah. That's just not a. That is just stop.
It's crazy how far out it's coming already. But anyways,
yeah.
All right, we're gonna start talking about traffic for an hour. Producer.
Did you see how they switched that lane to the other side on 285? Like, what are they thinking?
Right. Producer Chaos, do you have anything?
I'm just, thank you so much for coming. And I really appreciate the energy of what you're trying to promote in the world. It's like a lot of people have an idea about motorcycle clubs that I think is inaccurate. And I like that you are proving them wrong.
Bike night tomorrow night, Over the Top Burger Bar.
Yep.
Come out.
7 o'clock.
We're gonna be there.
Bring an unwrapped toy.
Unwrapped.
Child's toy.
Child's toy.
Yes, a children's toy.
I know we have to be clear about that with the current generation coming up.
Yeah.
Children's toys. Okay. All right. And then we have the Atlanta Lita's bike night next week.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
At Jimmy's Tequila at 7 p.m.
Oh, that's near my house. I'll come.
Exactly.
Oh, you should come.
November 1st, 6:30 p.m.
I will be there.
Yay. And we'll actually have axe throwing.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Axe
Oh,
throwing.
Miss Expert over here.
Are you really?
Oh, she's Braveheart all of a sudden.
No, I hit a freaking target like twice.
That wasn't the point. You hit the target bullseye twice.
I will be there.
And then in the car home, you were talking like you're now the axe throwing champion.
So he put this.
I'm a natural.
He put this meme together, like a video, thing montage with the Patriot.
Right.
Really?
With him,
the Patriot. I'm saying Braveheart.
Yeah, the Patriot. It's the same guy, Mel Gibson.
Melly Gibson.
Melly Gibson's.
Okay, we're getting
Sorry, inside joke.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so close us out.
Okay, so like and subscribe, you guys. Let us know what you think about this episode, and make sure to check us out on Chuck and Zee on Instagram.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace
Bye,
out.
Take care.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Shiny side up.
Good show.
Good show.